The year Ethan loved me the most was also the year he struggled the most. That was the year I dumped him and ran. We met again at the hospital. Standing beside him was the young heir of the Sinclair family, the one who had helped him rebuild his empire. I stood there in a hospital gown, pale-faced, squeezing out a smile for him. Does Mr. Ford still find me appealing? I'm not asking for much, just trying to cover my medical bills. Ethan looked cold, letting out a scoff. You really flatter yourself. That very night I was forcibly transferred to the Ford family's private hospital. Watching the hesitant figure at the door, my lips curled into a self-deprecating smile. Why is he still so soft-hearted? I never imagined I'd run into Ethan in a situation like this. He was wearing a bespoke, perfectly tailored suit. His hair was styled to perfection. Just standing there, he commanded everyone's attention. Not to mention his gaze happened to land right on me, and me wearing a shapeless knit beanie, dressed in an oversized hospital gown, hunched over, my face completely drained of blood. I looked like I had aged 30 years. If I had known I'd run into him today, I would have cleaned myself up a bit before coming out. At the very least, I would have borrowed some blush from the girl in the next bed, just to look a little decent. What a coincidence. I tried to stand up straight, but the pain in my stomach radiated through every part of my body. Even though I tried hard to act normal, it hurt too much. Of course, what hurt more than my body was the look in Ethan's eyes. He looked at me like I was his mortal enemy. Does he hate me that much? Ethan, what are you looking at? A young man stepped out from behind Ethan, leaning affectionately against his side. Upon seeing me, the young man actively reached out to hold Ethan's hand, which was hanging by his side. In that instant, I abruptly lowered my head, pretending to calmly adjust my clothes. I looked down too quickly to see Ethan's discomfort at Sebastian Sinclair's intimate gesture. Yeah, we are what we used to be. He has someone else by his side now. I know this person, Sebastian, the young heir of the Sinclair family. Unlike me, the heartless jerk who dumped Ethan when he went bankrupt and ran off, Sebastian was the one who stayed by his side from rock bottom to where he is now. He's the devoted partner who helped him rise again. I suddenly regretted listening to Penny. I shouldn't have come back to New York. See, how long has it been, and I've already run into Ethan. Just my luck. I was about to turn and leave, but Sebastian suddenly let go of Ethan's hand and walked toward me. I don't know why for that split second I didn't keep walking toward the ward, but stood frozen in place waiting for Sebastian to walk up to me. The young heir had been pampered since childhood. Before Ethan went bankrupt, back when I was still by Ethan's side, I knew his name. This was our first time meeting. I know you. You're the person in the photo in Ethan's study. Hearing this, I looked at Ethan with disbelief in my eyes. He had followed Sebastian and was now standing in front of me. Only his eyes held no surprise, no joy, only disgust. But I didn't understand his behavior. Soon Ethan answered my confusion. The person I hate the most naturally needs to be in front of my eyes, day and night, to remind me of the humiliation I suffered. The hope in my eyes extinguished, leaving only self-mockery. Right? What was I expecting? I couldn't possibly expect that after what I did to him, he would still be pining for me. Julian, you really have some nerve. Sebastian seemed to suddenly realize. Oh, I'm sorry, so the rumors are true. You really dumped Ethan after he went bankrupt and ran off with the money. The boy's voice was full of curiosity, like he genuinely just wanted to know the truth. The corners of my mouth hooked into a smile. I took a deep breath to suppress the pain in my body. Yeah, it was me. Didn't Mr. Ford just say I'm the person he hates the most? But you can tell I must also be the person he loved the most. There's a thin line between love and hate. That saying is actually quite true. My tone was light, but Sebastian's face suddenly changed. He thought I couldn't tell. He knew exactly who I was a long time ago. Pretending to be innocent. The first don't know who he's putting on a show for. I don't believe that when he saw the photo on Ethan's desk, he didn't mind at all or didn't want to investigate. Didn't he know when I first got together with Ethan, I was much better at playing innocent than he is? Speaking of which, Mr. Ford really ought to give me some compensation. After all, if I hadn't dumped Mr. Ford back then and made him hate me so much, how could he have had such motivation to bounce back so quickly and even do better than before? I tilted my head slightly, smiling at Ethan, not caring at all about the look Sebastian was giving me. I don't ask for much. A few $100,000 isn't too much. $50 isn't too little. Ethan, who had been silent, scoffed lightly. Julian, how are you still such a gold digger? Who doesn't love money? Look at him talking. Isn't money what he's working so hard for? Mr. Wilson, you don't happen to regret it, do you? Seeing Ethan's success now, you want to come back. The world doesn't work that way. You dumped Ethan back then. You shouldn't get a chance to regret it. I nodded, but I didn't follow his lead to belittle myself. Well, Mr. Sinclair, you might want to worry about yourself. After all, I was with Mr. Ford for so many years. We did everything there was to do. I know what he likes and hates better than anyone. If we really get into it, my chances of climbing back into his bed might be higher than yours. You, Sebastian, didn't expect to lose ground with me. Or maybe he was genuinely worried I'd use this chance to get back in. He walked over to Ethan's side, acting all fragile. Ethan, the gala is about to start, we should go. Ethan didn't speak, but he followed Sebastian's lead to walk out. Don't think I didn't see it just now while I was speaking. There was a hidden smile in his eyes. He probably felt pretty smug watching us fight over him. So as Ethan passed by me in a moment of heat, I grabbed the hem of his jacket. Who doesn't know how to play the victim? Mr. Ford, do you still want me now? I don't ask for much, just give me some money for my medical bills, okay? Ethan turned his head to look at me. Emotions churned in his eyes. Finally a cold sneer spilled from his lips. Julian, you really flatter yourself, okay? I really did overestimate myself. My start with Ethan wasn't exactly conventional. After all, we didn't meet in a conventional setting. It's just that later he liked me too much, like me to the point of obsession. So I jumped from being a kept canary to being his official boyfriend. No matter where he went, he took me with him. But the year he loved me the most, the Ford family was set up and went bankrupt. No matter how capable Ethan was, he needed time to rebuild. And while I was saying I'd stay with him forever one day, the next day I took the money and ran. From then on I became the person Ethan hated most. Jules, do you know who I just saw downstairs? Penny burst in, making a scene. Realizing she was in a hospital, the volume of her second sentence dropped instantly. Ethan Ford, her eyes went wide. How did you know? I smiled gently at her. Because I just ran into him too. I even asked if he still wanted me. Penny's eyes grew even wider at my words, her whole body radiating the urge to hear gossip. Did he agree? I looked at her helplessly. Is that likely? He's not a glutton for punishment. Who would still have feelings for the ex-boyfriend who dumped them at their lowest point? If it were me, I'd wish the other person would just die already. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but cough a harsh, violent hacking. There wasn't a single spot on my body that didn't hurt. Penny forgot about the gossip and rushed to my side to give me water. After I calmed down, she spoke slowly. If you ask me, you should tell him everything. Let him know what you did for him. He's so rich now, why do you still need to sell your designs to pay for treatment? I shook my head with a smile. You know how much he holds a grudge. Penny and I grew up together, but since I'm gay, there were never any romantic feelings between us. We're more like siblings. I know. That's why I'm telling you to explain what happened back then. Tell him how hard it was for you. If he softens up even a little, wouldn't that work? He has someone else now. I looked out the window. The sun was setting. Night was coming again. Night was harder to endure than day. Hearing this, Penny suddenly went quiet. She asked cautiously, is it that guy by his side? I nodded. He stayed with him while he rebuilt his empire. Gave him a lot of help. They're together now. If I step in at a time like this, what does that make me? The other man? My tone was light, as if I didn't care at all that there was someone else by Ethan's side. Penny must have heard the resolve in my voice, so she dropped the subject. I sold that necklace for you since you sold it in a rush. The price wasn't great. I gave it all to the hospital. There's a little left over for your living expenses. I held my tablet looking at a new design draft without looking up. Okay, thanks. Penny, don't be polite with me. But seriously, you've sold almost all your old work. There's only that one ring left. I know you were planning to give it to Ethan, but since there's no chance for you two anymore, you might as well list it now. It could fetch a good price with your condition. The money you paid today won't last long. I put down the tablet in my hand and said firmly, I'm not selling it. Then what are you going to do when you have no money for treatment? Then I stopped treatment. Julian, hearing Penny's angry tone, I smiled helplessly. You've been with me through this treatment for so many years. Don't you know the state of my body? Don't worry, just because I'm not selling it now doesn't mean it won't be sold. Sell it after I die, it'll be worth more then. Penny didn't find my joke funny. She didn't look happy at all. She was the one who knew my condition right when I started treatment. She's helped me a lot over the years. We weren't originally seeking treatment in New York, but a few months ago, when my physical condition kept deteriorating, Penny insisted we had to come to New York for treatment. I couldn't out-stubborn her, so I came along. Who knew I'd run into Ethan? Penny, I know you mean well, but chemotherapy hurts. The treatment hurts. I've had the surgeries done, everything I could do, and I'm still not getting better. Actually, I think I've lived enough. Besides Ethan, the person I've let down the most is you. Penny turned her head away, refusing to look at me. I struggled to get out of bed and patted her shoulder. That ring, consider it my payment to you. Remember, list it only after I die. You'll get more money that way. Julian, is there really no chance for you and Ethan? My hand paused. It's not that there's no chance, it's that I can't. When I saw Ethan today, I actually felt a bit panicked, because I saw reluctance in his eyes. Maybe he still has feelings for me. But now if I explain the past and we start over, just to suffer for a few months while he watches me die, how cruel is that? It's better not to make him go through something that cruel a second time. No chance. Penny didn't try to persuade me anymore. After helping me pack some things, she went home. I lay in bed wondering how long it would take to fall asleep tonight. Hopefully I wouldn't be in pain until the early hours again. Just as I lay down, I heard hurried footsteps outside the ward. I assumed some patient was being rushed to the ER again. I didn't pay it any mind. Who knew that the next second my door would be thrown open? The room lights glared on before I could even react. Two large men hoisted me up and placed me in a wheelchair. A young man in a black suit standing at the door frowned and instructed the two men, Gently, don't hurt Mr. Wilson. Yes, I instantly understood. You're Ethan's people. The man nodded. Since Mr. Wilson has already guessed it, please cooperate with us. So so we don't disturb the other patients. If you were afraid of disturbing other patients, you shouldn't have come for me at a time like this. I was pushed out by the man wrapped in a thick blanket. Where does Mr. Ford plan to lock me up to carry out his revenge plan? Mr. Wilson, we live in a society governed by law. We just want to help transfer Mr. Wilson to another hospital. And if I don't cooperate, what will you do? Mr. Wilson probably wouldn't want to know. Fine. After being transferred to the Ford family's private hospital, Assistant Davis confiscated my phone and gave me a tablet just to pass the time. But in reality, I didn't use it much. After being tossed around by them, my spirits were low. Aside from waking up to eat, I spent the rest of my time sleeping. Occasionally when I was awake, I wondered what exactly Ethan wanted to do. He put me in a VIP suite, hired the best doctors to treat me, and even used the best medication. This didn't look like treating an enemy. It looked more like treating a benefactor, and he never appeared. He only sent Assistant Davis to see me. After a while I got bored. The more troubling thing was I didn't know what Ethan was planning. I lived in constant suspense, terrified he'd come up with some bizarre way to torture me. So I started negotiating with Assistant Davis, demanding to see Ethan. But my negotiations didn't have much effect. After all, they didn't care about my threats. Mr. Wilson, Mr. Ford will come to see you, but not now. You should cooperate with the treatment. It's your body after all. Alright, fine, so you won't budge. I looked at the window, then at Assistant Davis. While he wasn't paying attention, I jumped out of bed and ran to the window. Get him to come see me or I jump from here right now. Panic flashed in Assistant Davis's eyes. I bet he was regretting that the hospital hadn't sealed the windows. Mr. Wilson, can you come down first? No, I'll call Mr. Ford right now. Do it. Assistant Davis's call went through quickly. He didn't step away from me, probably afraid that the moment he turned his back I'd actually jump. Actually, I was just scaring him. I don't have many days left to live anyway. I don't want to die looking that messy. Soon Assistant Davis hung up the phone. Mr. Ford will be here shortly. He wasn't lying. It felt like barely any time had passed before Ethan arrived. When he pushed the door open, his face was stony, and he looked at me like he was looking at something disgusting. He waved his hand at Assistant Davis, and then it was just the two of us in the room. I sat on the windowsill, tilting my head slightly to look at Ethan. What exactly does Mr. Ford want to do? Revenge? Then why treat my illness with the drugs you're using? Even if you sold me right now, I couldn't pay you back. Julian, do you think you're worth anything? Ethan must have come from the office. He was wearing a stiff formal suit. He's 5 years older than me when I met him. He already had this rigid ascetic look. You couldn't see any youthful vitality in him. Until he got together with me, he barely managed to look somewhat like a young man then. But now it's gone. He's back to how he was before. I twitched my lips. Then please give me an explanation, Mr. Ford. Didn't you guess it? I'm taking revenge on you. Treating my illness counts as revenge. Julian, I'm getting engaged. Ethan pulled a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. He didn't light one, just held it in his hand. His cravings were kicking in again, even though he had quit before. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Ford. To Mr. Sinclair, that's great. You two are a good match. I actually didn't quite understand his statement. What did his engagement have to do with taking revenge on me? I want you to watch me find happiness. To let you know that dumping me back then was the biggest mistake you ever made in your life. I nodded. After the engagement is over, whether you live or die has nothing to do with me. But right now you can't die, understood? I neither nodded nor shook my head. I just hopped off the windowsill and walked up to Ethan. Standing close to him, I could even feel his body heat. I could smell his scent. He really is consistent. After so many years, he still likes this cologne. I looked up at Ethan, having to stand on my tiptoes slightly to bring my face close to his. This position was dangerous. If I leaned forward just a little, I could kiss him right on the lips. Ethan didn't push me away, just kept a cold face, looking down at me through lowered lashes like he was watching a show, waiting to see what I'd do next. I was having trouble holding the pose, so I grabbed his sleeve for a little support. I thought he really had no reaction to me anymore, but the next second Ethan's breathing grew heavy, the eyes looking at me flooded with suppressed desire. I wanted to pull back. I didn't intend to make this real, but before I could move, Ethan moved first. He suddenly choked my neck and pinned me onto the sofa with immense force. He wasn't gentle at all. I was so thin I was just bones. My back slammed into the armrest of the sofa, hurting so much I almost cried. But what worried me more was Ethan's hand. He seemed disgusted by his own reaction. Naturally, he didn't want to go easy on me. In that moment, I really thought he was going to strangle me to death. Ethan, if you kill me now, you won't achieve your goal. I patted his hand, looking at him with red-rimmed eyes. I saw a flash of panic in his eyes. The next second, I regained access to fresh air. My whole body went into an uncontrollable coughing fit. This guy, he still treats me like I was before I got sick. Julian, don't think I still have feelings for you. Do you really think I can't live without you? The reason I haven't forgotten you all these years is purely because I hate you. Seeing you live like this now makes me feel great, but that's not enough. Do you understand? It's not enough yet. So you have to stay alive. My coughing gradually stopped. wept, but tears had fallen without me realizing. My voice was raspy and unpleasant. I know I never said I still had feelings for Mr. Ford. Looking at Ethan, I couldn't help but mock myself. Why is he still so soft-hearted? He should hate me properly. Why help me treat my illness? I suddenly lashed out, grabbing Ethan's tie and yanking him toward me, watching him panic as he braced himself beside me. My tone was triumphant. I definitely don't have feelings for Mr. Ford anymore. But Mr. Ford seems to be different. Getting aroused by the person you hate most over a failed kiss. Are you really over me or just lying to yourself? Ethan's reaction just now was exactly what I suspected, but he didn't seem to want to admit it. So when I pointed it out, he got furious. I actually didn't quite understand, even though I hadn't been by his side all these years. He had Sebastian right. How could he get aroused by my deliberate teasing? It really shouldn't have happened. What nonsense are you spouting? When Ethan got up in anger, he shoved me hard. My position wasn't stable to begin with. With that shove, I lost my balance and rolled right onto the floor. This wasn't the Ford mansion. Naturally, there were no thick, soft carpets on the floor. That fall made me feel like I was falling apart, but I didn't show it. Instead, I sat on the ground looking up at Ethan. What was I wrong? Does Mr. Ford dare to say he felt absolutely nothing just now? You still have desires for me, Ethan. Aren't you pathetic? I bit my lip, afraid to stop. If I stopped, I wouldn't be able to say what I needed to say. After all these years, you still can't break the habit of being my dog. Ethan walked up to me, bent down, and pinched my cheeks hard. For a second, I suspected he was going to crush my jaw. It hurt, but I didn't make a sound. Julian, do you think you have any charm left to make me your dog? Have you not looked in a mirror lately? Don't you know what kind of ghostly state you're in? Of course I knew I was emaciated, and because I couldn't sleep at night, the dark circles under my eyes reached my chin. No one who looked at me could possibly like what they saw. I wasn't the Julian of the past anymore. Do you really think I could have any desire for you looking like this? Are you too confident, or do you still not know your place? I was forced to look up at him, seeing the mockery in his eyes clearly, and the contempt. Oh, so what does Mr. Ford want to do to me? I don't want to do anything to you. Seeing you ruins my appetite. But get this straight, if it weren't for me, how could you still be alive right now? Julian, be obedient. Don't think about provoking me. Ethan patted my cheek casually. This attitude of superiority was something I had never seen when I was with him before. Seeing it suddenly now, I could understand why so many people followed him all these years. Ethan left, leaving me alone in the ward. I wanted to get up from the floor, but it was difficult. I was in too much pain so bad I had no strength left. But at least I achieved my goal today. Just keep hating me like this. I knew that after I died, someone would definitely tell Ethan the truth about back then. I don't know how he'll react then, but it's better if he doesn't know now. If he's going to hate me, let him hate me until the end. I got sick. Oh wait, I guess I was never well. But this time I really couldn't get out of bed. Maybe it was because I stayed on the floor too long that night, or maybe because I was unhappy. Anyway, I spent the whole day barely conscious. For a moment I thought I was going to die just like that. But luckily I woke up, maybe because I hadn't finished what I needed to do, or maybe my time wasn't up yet. After I woke up, Assistant Davis returned my phone to me fully charged. As soon as I turned it on, Penny's call came through. You finally answered. Where the hell did you go? Do you know I almost went crazy looking for you? After hesitating for a long while, I told the truth. Ethan took me. I'm at the Ford private hospital now. They're treating me well. I'm in a VIP single ward. The doctors are great, and I don't have to pay for the meds. You don't need to worry. Penny went quiet on the other end just when I thought she might have hung up. She finally spoke. I knew it. You two were bound to get back together. I looked outside to make sure no one would burst in. Then I said slowly, no chance. Ethan just wants revenge. He's getting engaged and insists I watch. How twisted is that? Getting engaged and forcing his ex-boyfriend to watch. Killing someone is easy, but he wants to break my spirit. If he really wanted revenge, would he put you in such a nice room and treat your illness? Julian, I'm not an idiot. Forget it. I get it. Penny just wants me and Ethan to reconcile immediately. She doesn't care that Ethan is a vindictive person. Since you're with Ethan, I won't worry. Just focus on your treatment. Call me if anything else happens. I'm pretty busy with work anyway. I was planning to hire a caregiver for you. Before Penny could hang up, I quickly added, if you have time, bring that ring over to me. Why, you changed your mind and want to propose to Ethan? You're overthinking it. I told you he's about to get engaged to Mr. Sinclair. How could he look at someone like me? You don't know how much he hates me. Penny chuckled. She still set a time to meet me. Actually, I didn't want to do anything with it. I just wanted to look at that ring a bit more. After all, every look counts as one less look remaining. It's hard to say how many more times I'll get to see it. I made the ring before everything happened. Back then I really thought about giving it to Ethan. Unfortunately, before I could give it to him, so many things happened. Later I sold a lot of things, but I never sold this ring because it was my last memento. Although I know I'll die eventually, I still wanted to give myself something to hope for. Actually, I had thought about whether to give the ring to Ethan, but in the end I thought, forget it. With his current status, how could he possibly care for a ring I made myself? Might as well leave it to Penny. I heard she wants to buy a house. If she sells the ring, it should be enough. I thought I wouldn't see Ethan again, at least not before his engagement party. He wouldn't come looking for me, but that was just what I thought. Not long after, Ethan came to ask me to make his engagement ring. Is Mr. Ford trying time did you know Ethan? I sat on the hospital bed looking at Ethan weakly. He wore a dark gray suit today, looking a bit different, more approachable than before, wearing a ring made by an ex with your current partner. Doesn't that gross you out, Mr. Ford? Julian, you don't have the right to refuse. If I tell you to do it, you do it. As for whether I mind, that has nothing to do with you. Actually, I didn't mind making a pair of rings for him that much. It's just that I was worried the rings wouldn't be finished before I kicked the bucket. Design that takes time, crafting takes time. But I didn't know how much time I had left. Accidents always happen suddenly. It wouldn't be good to leave him with half-finished work. You don't want to do it, then you should think carefully about your good friend's job. Julian, she's been the one by your side all these years, right? I looked up sharply. I didn't expect the current Ethan to learn how to use threats like this, and I certainly didn't expect him to use them on me. Fine, I thought Ethan would leave once he got the answer he wanted, but he didn't go. Instead, he sat on the sofa looking at his laptop processing documents. I glanced at him several times. In the end, I couldn't bring myself to ask him to leave. Since our reunion, we hadn't coexisted as peacefully as this. Forget it, even if I don't say anything, he'll leave eventually. If I remind him, who knows what cutting room work he'll throw back. The smell of disinfectant in the ward was mixed with a pleasant familiar scent. I had been unable to sleep, but smelling that scent I suddenly felt drowsy. Just as I was about to fall asleep, Ethan's voice rang out in the room. When was your illness diagnosed? I froze. The drowsiness almost made me forget my disguise and speak the truth. But after just one word, meeting Ethan's eyes, I woke up. What, Mr. Ford doesn't think I left you alone back then because I was sick, does he? Mr. Ford really thinks too highly of me. I'm not that noble. The illness was diagnosed after I left you. Maybe it's karma. Blame me for leaving you when you were at your lowest. I turned to look at Ethan, smiling. But if I had to do it over, I'd do the same thing. Only I'd pretend to be more pitiful, at least make you hate me less. Then after you made your comeback, I'd return to your side, so you could pay for my treatment. Ethan's emotions vanished after I finished my cheerful speech, as if the person who looked at me so deeply just now wasn't him. Dream on. Ethan sent me the requirements the next day, but seeing what he wanted, I was puzzled. Does Sebastian share such similar taste with me? If I hadn't seen it myself, I would have thought this was the ring I wanted. When I was still with Ethan, he asked me what kind of ring I wanted. I remember that night curled up sleepily in his arms, rambling about the design I wanted. I had thought about making one myself, but back then we hadn't reached that stage. I felt it wasn't good to make it prematurely. Turns out I should have made it back then. Now I have no chance to make it for myself. Me, Mr. Ford, are you sure this is the style Mr. Sinclair wants? Ethan, don't ask so many questions, just make it according to the requirements. Be fine. Although I already had the image of the ring in my mind. Due to my physical condition, I couldn't draw continuously. I had to draw a little, rest a little. So it took a week for the design draft to reach the perfection I wanted. When I handed it over, I thought Ethan would make things difficult for me. Who knew he wouldn't raise a single objection? He just replied okay. And then we moved to the next step. I have to say, having money really lets you do whatever you want. I thought he'd make me go to an outside studio, but he set one up right next door. Rich and willful, so I had a new task every day, making the ring. However, some processes needed to be done outside. Ethan wouldn't let me leave, so I had to hand those off to outside workers. I have to admit, their craftsmanship wasn't necessarily worse than mine. He could have found a better master to do it, but he insisted on making me do it. How is that not a form of torture? Maybe Ethan realized long ago that torturing my heart isn't as effective as torturing my body, because I really can't handle it physically. But actually, I didn't work long hours each day, because Ethan wouldn't allow it. Whenever I exceeded a certain amount of time, he'd send Assistant Davis to remind me. Assistant Davis wouldn't speak. He'd just stand in front of me, staring straight at me, staring until I was too embarrassed to continue. I could only put down my tools and scurry back to my ward. Assistant Davis, maybe tell your boss that if we keep going at this pace, we might delay the engagement party. Assistant Davis didn't show much emotion. He just looked at me with a smile. Mr. Ford said there's no rush. Great, he's not in a rush, but I am. It's hard to say how long this body can hold on, though I have to credit the medicine Ethan used on me during this time. Otherwise, frankly, my suffering would have ended long ago. I wouldn't have lasted long enough to make this ring for him. But Ethan actually waited it out the day the ring was finished. I felt a weight lift off my chest. When I tried to give the item to Assistant Davis, he didn't take it. Mr. Ford says Mr. Wilson must deliver it personally. Me personally, yes, I didn't really want to go. But the next second, Assistant Davis placed a phone in front of me. It was a call with Ethan. Hello. Why do I have to bring it to you? No reason. You bring it personally or the task isn't complete. Fine. Before I hung up, Ethan suddenly spoke. Julian, do you remember what day it is today? I subconsciously checked the date. It was Ethan's birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. Ford. Are you sure you want me to bring the ring to you on such a happy day? Won't seeing me ruin your appetite? Julian, if you can't say anything nice, shut your mouth. Someone will bring you clothes later. Dress well, don't embarrass me. The next second the call was disconnected. I awkwardly handed the phone back to Assistant Davis, scratching my bald head. Your boss has a getting worse temper these days. He wasn't like this to me before. When I saw the clothes Ethan had sent over, I knew he was deliberately humiliating me. He knew I was this thin, yet he sent a suit. Could I even fill this out wearing it? I looked ridiculous. Anyone who didn't know better would think a kid stole an adult's clothes. It looked weird no matter how you looked at it. Are you sure your boss isn't doing this on purpose? Maybe even Assistant Davis couldn't stand looking at my outfit. He clearly wanted to laugh, but didn't dare. Probably not. Mr. Ford might just not know Mr. Wilson's current size. I reluctantly believed him, wearing the ill-fitting suit and carrying the ring box. I was driven by Assistant Davis to Ethan's location. It was a hotel and a banquet was being held inside. It dawned on me then, today is Ethan's birthday, so they must be holding his birthday party inside. Are you sure your boss wants to see me at a time like this? I feel like I'm not really suited to go in there. Mr. Wilson, I am sure Mr. Ford wants to see you right now. It's getting late, you should go in. Fine. Actually, I really didn't want to enter a place like this. Spending all these years in the hospital, I rarely went out, let alone interacted with so many people. I hunched my neck and walked in, slowly turning around only to find that Assistant Davis hadn't followed me in. When he saw me turn back, he even gave me a fighting gesture. Enough, I don't need encouragement right now. I need to get out of here, because I just saw someone I knew. Before Ethan went bankrupt, he loved taking me out, so naturally I met some of his friends. Occasions like today certainly wouldn't be complete without them. I was a little scared they'd recognize me. Being separated for so many years, meeting Ethan is one thing, but being seen by his friends is another matter entirely. So I hurriedly found Ethan in the crowd, planning to shove the ring into his hand and run. But my plan didn't go as hoped, because when I walked over and tried to shove the ring directly into his hand, Ethan grabbed not just the ring box but my hand as well. He wore a faint smile on his face. This was the look he usually showed to outsiders. Mr. Ford, my task is complete. I'm going back now. Ethan didn't let go, nor did he speak. He just lowered his eyes slightly to look at me. I don't know if I was seeing things, but I thought I saw a trace of sadness and self-mockery in his eyes. Julian, you came all this way just to say that. Don't you have anything else to say, Mr. Ford? Before I could speak, someone suddenly cut, and I hadn't thought much of it. But the moment the person spoke, I instantly panicked. It wasn't just anyone, it was the friend I found years ago when I left. The one I used to invest in, Ethan. Dave, hey, did you guys get back together? I told you two were destined. I knew you'd end up together. I really didn't want to face Dave because I felt he would ruin my plan. But Ethan was still gripping my hand with no intention of letting go. This was bad. I couldn't leave, and if I stayed I'd be exposed. Stuck in limbo, I deeply regretted the decision to deliver the ring today. I tried to signal Dave with my eyes not to bring up the past, but the guy wasn't looking at me at all. He just kept chatting with Ethan. Back together? Someone like him, is he worth getting back together with? Dave looked awkward. Is this a lover's quarrel? A liar who took my money and dumped me when I was bankrupt and at rock bottom. Why should I get back together with him? My heart sank. I suddenly started struggling, because I had a premonition that what I did was about to be exposed by Dave. But Ethan gripped my hand tighter, even less willing to let go. He didn't care at all about the looks people were giving us. Liar, that's not right. The investment money I gave you back then. Didn't Mr. Wilson give that to me? I asked him at the time why he didn't give it to you himself. He said you were a bit chauvinistic and wouldn't want to spend his money, so he found me to find an excuse to give it to you. Ethan, you guys aren't enough. Stop talking. I shouted at Dave abruptly. He stopped, then looking at me in confusion. My face was already as white as paper, my lips drained of color, and Ethan looked no better. I don't know why when he heard this, he didn't doubt the truth of it, but just believed it so easily. I pressed my lips together and shook my head. I didn't. It wasn't me who gave the money. He mistook me for someone else. Ethan, wake up. I'm just a liar, a heartless jerk who betrayed your feelings. Don't go soft on me, Julian. You're lying to me. Even now you still want to lie to me. I wanted to explain. I couldn't let him know the truth at the very end, but my throat felt blocked by something. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was going to pass out from anger at Dave, but I haven't explained it clearly yet. I can't die yet. The next second, a metallic sweetness sprayed from my throat, and I could breathe again, but my consciousness was fading. I only saw Ethan's anxious expression. What a pity I won't get to see him find happiness. I'm sorry for causing a scene at your birthday party, Ethan. Do you regret forcing me to come give you the ring? If I hadn't come, you wouldn't know about the past, and you wouldn't feel guilty toward me. I don't know how long I slept, but I knew I wasn't dead yet. Only when I woke up I could roughly estimate how much time I had left. My finger moved just slightly. The person by the bed woke with a start. I turned my head to look at the person. It was Ethan. I forced an ugly smile. Sorry for making a scene at your birthday party. I told you not to make me bring the ring. You didn't believe what Dave said, did you? How could I give the money to him? I spent your money long ago living it up. See the state I'm in now? It's all because I couldn't say the rest. Because Ethan was crying. This was the first time I'd seen him shed tears. Usually I only saw his sweat dripping onto me, hot and intense, but his tears made me unable to breathe. Julian, do you really think I'm an idiot? You were diagnosed back then, weren't you? You sold everything, left all that money for me, and then ran off to wait for death alone. Do you think you're noble? Actually, it was okay. Because these past few years I kept thinking maybe I got sick because I enjoyed too much happiness. That didn't belong to me while I was by Ethan's side. But if I had to do it all over again, I'd still want to be with Ethan. Not to enjoy a happy, wealthy life just purely because I wanted to meet him. Do you know what I was thinking while you were in a coma? What Ethan's hand touched my head. I've been bald for quite a while now. Yet only in this moment did I feel a hint of embarrassment. No, hair must be ugly. I was thinking if only you had been a little more selfish. If you had taken all my money and used it to get proper treatment. See, I knew Ethan would think that I know him so well. You don't really think I didn't keep anything for myself, do you? All those gems you bought me back then, I used them to make jewelry. I didn't give those to you, though they aren't in my possession anymore either. If it weren't for those things, maybe I wouldn't have lived this long. I really want to yell at you, but seeing you like this I can't say a word. But you must answer my next question honestly, understood? I depends on the question. You didn't leave just because of the illness, did you? Worthy of being Ethan Ford, the business genius who could rebuild a company in just a few short years. Sure enough, he found the key point at a glance. Indeed, although Ethan was set up and went bankrupt, the man himself was a force to be reckoned with. They were afraid he would rise again, so they thought about using me to threaten him. I dodged them before, but I was afraid that one day I wouldn't be able to. To be honest, I'm not afraid of death, but I was afraid. Afraid that Ethan would actually compromise for me. Didn't you already guess it? Do I have to say it myself? Ethan's hands were trembling slightly, making my eyes sting. I'm sorry. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't be like this. Julian, I regret it so much. I didn't know which part Ethan regretted. Regretting our first reunion at the hotel, or regretting handing me that business card in the first place. Don't regret it. I don't regret it. Even if we hadn't met, it doesn't mean I wouldn't have gotten sick. And you know, someone like me wouldn't have made much money anyway. The money for treatment in a way was yours. I took advantage of him. I placed my hand on his and patted it. But luckily, I can still see you find your happiness. I don't know if I can wait until that day. How about this? Since the misunderstanding between us is cleared up, why don't you move up the engagement party with Sebastian? There is no engagement party. If you insist on one, it can be between you and me. My hand froze as I patted him. What do you mean? My neck stiffened as I looked at him in disbelief. It was all fake. I lied to you. I'm not with him, and I'm not getting engaged to him. It was to make you care about me, but you heartless jerk, you actually congratulated me. Julian, aren't you ashamed? Acting, huh? I'm speechless. Everything rumored outside is fake. I didn't let him accompany me during my comeback. He offered some help, but I refused it all. Did you know during this time I actually lived right next door to you? I came back to the hospital every day after work. I only dared to sneak in to see you after you fell asleep at night. You were too cruel to me. I turned my head, not wanting to look at Ethan, but he didn't let me get away with it. If you hadn't come back to New York, if we hadn't met that day, when were you planning to tell me these things? After you died, when you became a pile of ashes, and you had your little childhood friend carry a box to me and notify me that you were dead. Is that it? Ethan's tears fell. Beautifully beautiful people look even more beautiful when they cry. I was a bit dazed. Probably not. Penny wouldn't do that. I wouldn't let her do that either. Ethan suddenly let out a soft laugh. Right, you'd only be more cruel. You wouldn't even let me see you one last time. I thought too highly of you. Why does it feel like he's being sarcastic? Julie, in all these years I actually thought about looking for you, but I was afraid that when I found you there would already be someone else by your side, or that you simply didn't feel that way about me anymore. His finger pressed against my lips with some force. He leaned in close. When I realized what he wanted to do and tried to push him away, it was too late. His kiss landed on my lips. It was a very cherished kiss. You know what kind of person I am. Even if those things happened, as long as I found you, I wouldn't give up. I would only make you come back to me. But I thought maybe you really didn't want to be with me anymore. You took my money and left. Surely you would live the life you wanted. So I restrained myself from asking about your whereabouts, but now I regret it so much. If I had known, I shouldn't have held on to that shred of morality. Ethan suddenly stood up and grabbed a box from nearby. It wasn't the ring I delivered earlier. It was the ring I had kept all this time. He opened it easily, tracing the ring inside the box. I know this is for me, so put it on me now. I didn't want to. Ethan grabbed my hand, half forcing, half coaxing. I don't blame you for the years we wasted, and I won't say anything about it. But starting today, you can only stay by my side. Ethan, is it worth it? While I was in a coma, you must have learned about my condition from the doctor. How long do you think I can live? Watching the person you love die in front of you. You call me cruel, but you're being even crueler to yourself. Why not just follow my plan? If you're going to hate, then hate forever. Hate until you hear news of my death and feel nothing but relief. Why did it suddenly turn out like this? Yes, I've always been this way. Haven't you always known? Ethan opened the other ring box. He put the new ring I made on my hand. The size was perfect actually when I was making it, seeing so many coincidences. Did I not suspect anything? I did, but I really couldn't bring myself to be that cruel. Julie and Ethan held my hand tightly, pressing his forehead against our clasped hands. You're wearing my ring. Even in death you can only be my ghost. Do you understand? In the end I compromised, just like I could never refuse Ethan. Actually, for the remaining time staying in the hospital wouldn't make make much difference. Ethan took me home. It was the same apartment we lived in before. After he made his comeback, he bought this place back. The decorations and everything were the same as years ago. Nothing had really changed. My body hurt every day. I didn't want Ethan to worry, but how could he not see it? You don't need to hold it and tell me if it hurts. Ethan bought me lots of gems, but I didn't have the strength to make anything new. It was a pity in the end. I only left him one ring. That's not entirely true because that ring was actually intended for Penny, but Ethan exchanged something else with Penny for it. He gave her 3 apartments in New York for Penny, who was saving up to buy a house. That was really good. Ethan stayed with me every day handling his work from home. He worried when I slept. I knew he was afraid I wouldn't wake up, but that day would come sooner or later. I helped Ethan adopt a puppy. It's a very cute breed, just overly energetic. It makes Ethan take it out for runs every day. That's good. I said goodbye to this world surrounded by Ethan's love. Actually, I've had a feeling lately you might be leaving. Julie and I will live on well, but don't expect me to find someone else. I won't. No one is better than me anyway, right? No one compares to you. I'll take good care of the dog and I'll take good care of myself. Wait for me in a few decades. I'll come find you, okay? I used to think being a few years older than you wasn't great. Now I see it's actually pretty good nonsense. Older men know how to take care of people. Julian, yeah, I love you. Ethan, I love you too. Julian, yeah, Julian, goodbye.